production studio, welcome to Tactical Tuesday, streaming live on YouTube and simulcasting as always on GunChannels.com. To check out our entire lineup of videos, podcasts, and live shows, please visit our website, www.ghosttacticalproductions.com.
What is going on, my Ghost Squad? Welcome to Tactical Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, January 29th, 2019. We've coming off of a productive, busy, crazy, happy, sickly, all sorts of stuff last week at SHOT Show. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit tonight about really quick our experience, but then what are we looking forward to in the Second Amendment community with our projects or with the community, the industry, whatever, and all that. We are live as always over on YouTube, waiting for other platforms to be able to get us over there live. So we're biding our time over here, but we're also live as always on GunChannels.com. If you're not familiar with GunChannels.com, then I'm going to go ahead and drop a link over here and come check us out. It's a great Second Amendment pro-gun community formed by gun owners for gun owners, and thanks to GWebs for doing that about 5 years ago. So come over and check us out. It's a great place to hang out. If you have any questions regards of weapons, ammunition, reloading, guns, media, anything the Second Amendment is out there, then we'd love to have you over there. There's always someone over there, and we will check it out. Let's see here. Over there, we've got GWebs, Pete's over there, DT's over there. On the YouTube, let's get a quick roll call from the YouTube side. And if we miss you, we're sorry, and we'll have to make it up to you next time. But Tardot out there saying he's there from Sub-Zero. Midnight Range CM's over there. Grim, the Tactical Reaper, is over there. What's up, Grim? Jen Davis, evening, Jen. GWebs said he's the fifth thumb. So, CS Blues over there. Guitar Man Pete. What up, Pete? You got Kingpin out there. Stealth Hunter, AWAG, Black Cat Outdoors, WB. Leo, Andrew, Faulkner's out there. That guy's wife. Hello, Armentia. How are you? I think I said Leo, but if I didn't, Leo's out there. So if we missed you guys, we've got people going to be coming in as they're getting the notifications. So we want to say hello to our wonderful panel, as we always have. We've got from South Carolina, we've got Magic Mike himself. He was live and on stage for much of the week last week, so he was working double duty. But what's up, Mike?
Not too much. Just sitting right here trying to do a final post to Instagram, and it's not working for me for some reason. But I'm glad to be back in South Carolina, and my feet are still recovering from this week or last week.
Yeah, we're gonna touch on that here briefly. And from Arizona, we've got the Godfather himself. What's up, G?
Hey, thanks for the invite.
Thanks for showing up. And from Texas, I guess he made it back from the 79-hour ordeal that is driving from Vegas to Texas and went through several time zones and weather patterns, and he still makes it to the show, even though we sent him the wrong link once again. We got a Tactical Virus, aka the Tactical Leprechaun. What's up, Clover?
Not a lot. You know, if you can drive to Vegas and back for SHOT Show, you can pretty much get anywhere you need to, including into Tactical Tuesday. So
that's right. That's
right. This is amateur hour compared to
it is amateur hour, and I'm glad you recognize that. You know, I was token with a D-list celebrity, and you were my hype man last week, so I appreciate you getting me onto the D-list, because that's pretty special for me.
Well, you know how it is. Got to take care of those you care about, right?
Sometimes I'll get up to the C list with you someday, and
well, you don't want to get too high. You know, I got to thinking about that, and
I am scared of heights. You know,
do you really want to be up there rubbing elbows with Hickok and Eric and Nothing Fancy and all them? I don't know, especially in demo. Come on, I don't know that.
Hashtag demo hates kids.
I don't know that I would enjoy that as much as the D-list people. Honestly, right. I love my D-list family.
That's right. That's right. We have a much better time. What's that old saying? I think that was a Billy Joel song. He said, "I'd rather laugh with the sinners than cry with the saints. The sinners have much more fun." So,
there you go.
There you go. So let's kind of jump in real quick and we'll get started. And I know that most people out there might be SHOT Showed out. Kind of been going on for a last week or so of people talking. We actually did it 2 weeks ahead of time, leading up to it and all that. But before we get going, I do want to mention also, if you want to question, please tag one of us in the comments. If you want to email it, go ahead and send it to live@ghosttactical.us. If you're more inclined to do a text, you can send it to the text up here at 530-364-4678 or 530-36-GHOST. So go ahead and send your questions. We'll try to get those answered. But like I said, SHOT Show, I think we all agree was a good one. And we're going to kind of go through the room real quick. And I want to hear what you guys are thinking of what you thought SHOT Show was and how you did it, SHOT Show. And then we'll move on to what's next. So, G, what about you? You've been going to a lot of SHOT Shows. How did this one kind of stack up to years past?
This was a good SHOT Show.
It was a good shot. I thought it was, but this is only my second one. So, I wasn't quite sure how people thought it was, but I was. Clover, what about you? Oh, G, were you finished? I'm sorry. Go ahead, G.
I didn't get any real negative feedback other than I guess you guys had talked to some people that might be new that were by themselves that didn't have good luck, but otherwise everybody I've known that I talked to had a good show.
Yeah, and that was kind of one of those things where I made a mention to Mike and Armenthea and to Sarge at one point. I said, y'all are really freaking lucky that your first SHOT Show was this one, because last year was good. I thought it was good, but in comparison, it was night and day. So it's one of those things where it's interesting to hear people that have been there for a while, because you've seen good and bad. So I think the industry was very happy. I talked to many companies that said, like, by Wednesday afternoon, the second day of SHOT Show, they were breaking records. So that's pretty good as well. Clover, what about you?
No, I mean, I'll echo that. I mean, it was just my second one, but yeah, night and day, the difference. People were more. I mean, there was some instances that a few people had. I mean, Gear Report had some. That guy's wife had some. I think Sarge had some. I didn't have any because I don't put myself really in that situation. You and I kind of operate a little differently. So there's ways to avoid, I don't know, certain uncomfortable situations in a booth or something like that, I guess, by just walking up and sticking your hand out and, kind of demanding their time, so to speak, or realizing that they're so swamped that, and I think Jeff alluded to that in some chats we had prior to SHOT Show, that, you walk up to a booth and I mean, they're just covered up, and your time, you got to weigh your time. And this show, I can guarantee you, time was invaluable. You could not spend. I would have loved to have talked to Ruger. I would have loved to have talked to several other companies, but when I walked by there, they were flat covered up. And, the marketing guy for Smith & Wesson, for example, I went over there to look at some of the 22s and stuff like that, and revolvers. I'm not an auto loader guy, and got to talk, had a pretty good conversation with the Texas rep actually over there. But they were covered up, didn't get a chance to talk to the actual marketing or digital media guy. So that was one of them situations where you just kind of cut bait, move on, and find somebody else, because your time's just too valuable. And that's a sign of a good show, definitely, because you're not, you can't spend the time. I knew I couldn't. I just had so much to try to do. Stayed busy the entire show. It was awesome.
Before we move on, I'll be remiss to mention happy birthday to our good pal Gizzard Gary. I think he's 94. He looks great for 94 years old out there. So keep kicking. And I know that you're a very active 94 years old, Gary. But keep it up. And if you need any help, we'd love to help you. What's that, G?
I thought it was 94 months. Chicken
months. I misunderstood. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. I apologize. That makes a lot more.
94 chicken months. They're 7 years per chicken month. I don't know.
Something like that. Yeah. See, dog years and chicken years are much different. So I can't really remember.
Right.
Mike, what about you? Being the first time at SHOT Show, man, what were your experiences like?
Oh man, so you was with me majority of the time, but as you can tell and as you saw, majority of the conversations that was just brought up on the whim led to positive encounters. At the same time, I enjoyed all the booths that I went to that I'd already had previous relations with. And one of the booths that I wish I could have spent a lot more time at was Walther, but it seemed like every time I went there, they was like overcrowded. And of course, the new steel frame Q5, man, I think that was like one of the appealing factors for the show, because everybody wanted to go see it, take a picture with it, shoot it. And but outside of that, like I said, it was good to see a lot of people that I met in the past at NRA show. But I was also very happy to actually meet the people who, you know, we always do the networking with, you know, G Webs, Sarge, and a couple other people that we ran into that was there as well.
Yeah, and it's cool. You know, we talk about, you know, you and I talk damn near every day, but it's weird. Until Sunday, we had never met in person, so it's kind of interesting. And meeting Sarge for the first time was great, and seeing Pink again, and seeing Joe, and obviously seeing, you know, Arminthia and Clover and G were great. But it's just one of those things where it was really fun. My feet never hurt. I know you just want your feet early. My knees were killing me the entire week. So I was popping a couple of leave every night just to try to get through. But, you know, you're talking about Walther, and I think Melvin Nutt earlier asked the question, did we get a chance to shoot the PPK? And I did not shoot the PPK. It was there at range day. It was beautiful. It was really beautiful. I did shoot the CCP and then obviously the steel. But you were talking about the steel being a cool one. I'm really excited about, as far as Walther's concerned, the PK 380. And if you guys are familiar with Smith & Wesson Shield 380 EZ, that was supposed to be very, very easy to rack, that's what Walther's PK 380 is it's very, I could literally rack this slide with my pinky, and it was pretty awesome. So I think that's going to be something that is going to really hit fire. Smith & Wesson is going to be bringing out this summer. Speaking of the EZ, it will now be chambered in 9mm later on the summer. So I think that one could be a huge one. That could be a really, really huge gun that hits the market probably, I'd assume, around NRA time. But let's kind of go through the room real quick and talk about the coolest thing you saw, and then we will definitely move on. Clover, what's the coolest thing you saw at SHOT Show? Let's talk guns. Coolest gun. Coolest
let
gun.
me address Mel's question, because I did shoot.
Oh yeah, anybody else shoot the PPK? I'm sorry. If you guys shoot the PPK, let me know.
I was at the PPK. I mean, the still frame, the PPQs, the other stuff there. I mean, that was all cool and smooth. But yeah, I mean, I was interested in shooting the PPK. It shot like a PPK. What can I say? It shot well, smooth action, good trigger. I mean, everything on it was what you would expect it to be. So I don't know, you know, it's kind of hard to rant and rave over it, because it's they kind of brought one back, so to speak, right? There's not really anything new. New manufacturing, I suppose, maybe a little bit of newness when it comes to material and stuff like that, but no, excellent pistol. Seen absolutely nothing bad about it at all in the short time, admittedly, that I spent with it.
Right.
Coolest thing I seen at the show.
Yeah, coolest gun you saw at SHOT.
Man, God, that's so hard. I don't know. Pass. That's the easiest answer to give you.
Yeah, right.
God, I don't know, man. The 475 Bishop Short Magnum, pretty awesome if you're talking extreme high-end custom rifles. If you're talking low-end stuff, the little double barrel 22 mag was cool.
Yeah, that's what some of the guys out there are talking about right now. The double, I think it was Pete. Yeah. Oh no, I carry my revolver in single action is asking about that. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Right. What else was there? Yeah, I mean,
I know you're excited about the 458 SOCOM lever. Man,
I was, and it's not that I want to. It's not that I want to take anything away from that at all. Because, like I've said, the machine work and stuff that was required, and the thought and the measuring and everything else to figure out how to make that thing work. And if you ever get a chance to look at the bolt on that thing, you'll know what I'm talking about. They wouldn't let me take pictures of it, which I kind of understand why. You'll understand why. So yeah, I went in looking at that, and then they had that 475 there, and I'm like, oh my God, new cartridge that they've developed. It's not a cut down, necked up whatever cartridge. I mean, it is one that they've got a company making brass for, completely new cartridge and all that, just bad to the bone. So it kind of overshadowed that 458 lever just a little bit, to me anyway.
Yep. Mike, what about your favorite gun you saw at SHOT Show?
Oh man. All right. So my favorite gun that I saw at SHOT Show is actually a list. All right. So I'm gonna start it off with Antares, Charlie Mike Precision. Those guys, they had this rifle that they're gonna go out in Utah in April to shoot the distance record.
6,000 yards.
6,000 yards, man. And
3.4 miles or something like that.
Yeah. Whew, man, I'm telling you, that was a beast right there.
We got to shoot it. That was a cool experience.
Yeah. So now let's take it to range day. Of course,
all right.
You know, I'm gonna have to say the Walther Q5 steel frame.
Right.
All right. Then of course the Walther polymer Q5.
Okay.
Then we're gonna take it down to the other end of the range on the with the Archon firearm.
Archon? Yeah, that was a cool gun.
Yeah.
I was talking about that last
Right
night
here.
on another chat. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. So I actually want to get my hands on that one because I think you can play with that one, and it's a lot of room for where you can customize it and make that what you really want it to be. All right. And then let's take it back up to Saul Invictus with a couple of the PCCs that I shot. What was that, the A10 and the A9?
You had you had the PCC, the 10 millimeter PCC, and then you had the 45. I want to say that was a 16-inch rifle, was it not?
I can't remember.
I want to say the 45 was full. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't 16, but it was lovely to shoot. And then if we're going to continue to talk about PCCs, let's talk about what took place over at Black Ordnance. Once again, another smooth platform that was shooting. And then shot a couple race guns. And like I said, overall, every place I've been to that I shot, that was my favorite. I'll put it like that. Sum it up.
Yeah. Well, I get it, and you've like named everything I was going to say. So I appreciate you stealing every bit of my damn thunder. This is my show, dude. You know, you want to do that? Go start your own.
Hey,
you know?
hey! Look, now we gonna have this talk again. Okay, we're gonna have it on live air. When
it's
you
all
talk
good,
to me,
bro. I'm right here. I'm not going anywhere.
When you talk to me, stand up, please.
Oh, really? I am standing up, damn it. No, for me, there were some cool ones. Obviously, yeah, the Sol Invictus, the 10 millimeter pistol, dude. I'm all in on the pistol. I know you were wanting maybe the longer 16-inch barrel. I'm digging the 8-inch pistol in that. Black Rain Ordnance, I've got a couple that I love. A 6.5 Creed. I don't own a 6.5 Creed, and that was one that was really cool. So I'm looking forward to getting that. They had a 9mm PCC that was good. I'd say it was really cool. I got to shoot Rob's 9mm pistol, the PD-10. That's kind of like the unicorn that people hear about but never really seen. And I got a chance to shoot that, spend some time with Rob. So that was pretty cool. Hope that comes out in production pretty soon. I'd love to get one of those. It was actually a really nice gun. Archon was pretty good, as you said. There was some really cool guns, but I think my favorite has to be Charlie's 408 Tejas that he's going to use in Utah, just for the mere fact that you're talking about a rifle that is a very big rifle with a very big caliber that's going to reach out and touch 6,000 yards, and the kickback was minimal. I mean, it was nothing. You know, I started kind of, you know, if you see the video, you can kind of see me kind of put my shoulder into it, just anticipating it, and nothing. I mean, it was really awesome. But just the fact to know that there's going to be a world record shot in April, and we'll be able to say we shot that exact literal rifle. And I want to say, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I want to say that there were like 8. He's only shot that 8 times so far. So there were like 4 or 5 of us that got to shoot it, and we were among the first 12 to 13 people in the world to not only shoot that rifle, but to shoot that 408 Tejas, which is really kind of cool. And Ashley's out there. What's up, Ashley? From GunStreamer. GunStreamer, man, they rocked it this week. I was so happy for them. They were everywhere, and I think someone coined them the belle of the ball. I mean, everyone was trying to get a piece of their time, and they went there with a plan, and I'm assuming that they are overwhelmingly excited about the future of GunStreamer, as we all are. So Congratulations to GunStreamer Austin and Ashley and Paul, where, man, they were just rocking it all week long. So it was really awesome to see how they were received by the industry. And there were a lot of people out there that maybe had heard of them but weren't on GunStreamer. And all of a sudden you see Gun Freedom Radio over there. Pincus is over there. I heard, and I don't know, but I heard that possibly Forgotten Weapons might be jumping over there pretty soon. So I'm really looking forward to see the future of GunStreamer, and congratulations to those guys. They were great. So yeah, I tell you, one of the cool things that happened to me is I got to meet a lot of people that I've been admiring from afar, not in a creepy way. We got to spend like literally over an hour and 15 minutes with Clint Smith, and Clint Smith is one of my heroes. Not only is he a Marine, but he's at the top, tip of the spear when it comes to firearms education and training. And he's got to spend time with him and his wife Heidi, and got invited to come out and shoot at Thunder Ranch, and so that's gonna be really cool. And then obviously meeting a lot of Brandon from Firearms Policy Coalition, someone who is literally at the forefront of the two-way fight, and spending more time with Robin, with Sedini, and Carrie Sloan out there with We the Female, spending time with Zeke. Man, I got to spend a lot of time with Maj. And Maj, I just put a video up on the interview we kind of did. We were walking, and Maj is the real deal, guys. If you're looking for someone who's fighting a good fight, go support Black Guns Matter, and Maj is doing a phenomenal job. But KD had an unveiling of a couple guns that he's been working with HK and with Enforce. So that was cool. There was a lot of stuff that happened, and like I said, the energy for me was amazing. Everywhere we went, like last year, I said I wanted to be in the dungeon because the energy was so high in the dungeon, but this year is everywhere, and it wasn't just the companies, everyone in the industry, the gun shops, the media. It seemed everyone was like more energetic, and there was more. I'm not saying it was turned into a 2A rally, but there was much more 2A talk this year than last year. And I want to bring G in real quick, and I want to get your perspective from the 2A side. Did you notice that there was more 2A talk going around, or is that something that I just noticed this year?
Yeah, it depends on what you want to say compared to what. So if you compare it to 2013, when the 23 actions happened, or the SIG brace year 15, no, but not none. So
yeah, and like I said, compared to last year, there's a lot more that I noticed. But it was nice to see a lot of collaborations happening over the week, and there was some cool, ran into Riley and with Jacob and with Matthew with concealedcarry.com. They're friends of ours, but you never meet them in person. And now you're like, okay, then the Pew Pew Jew, man, love Pew Pew Jew. And you got, Durrell with, Glock Don't Lock and all that. It's just fully loaded clip. I'm sorry. Fully loaded clip that, it's just, you have all these people that you kind of know, but then you get to meet. And then you're always talking about collaborating and collaborating and getting on shows and all that. So I think that was pretty cool for me. I think everyone here, at least Clover and Mike, would sit there and probably admit that there was a lot more that got done this year, Clover, than last year. Would you agree with that? Clover, leave us.
Looking for my mute. Nah,
okay.
I haven't medicated yet, so I haven't passed that. No.
Right.
No, totally agree. Yeah, it's like I said earlier. I think I did more on the first day this year than I did the entire SHOT Show last year.
Yeah.
I'm going through, kind of as we talk now, I'm still going through cards and stuff. 100, and I lost some, like we talked about earlier. I've got some that they may be in a bag somewhere, but I can't find them. I've got some that are missing, and I've got somewhere around 100, and I can guarantee you 75, 80 of those I need to follow up on. It's not just random. I picked up cards. It was, I had conversations with that many people.
Yeah. Answer this real quick. Hold on here. Some new people, Glitters and Guns out there, and welcome to the channel. I haven't seen you before, so welcome. And someone mentioned that the Chris Pronto interview, that was cool. Chris is I got to know him the last year or so, and it was really cool to sit there and talk to him in front of camera. But what you don't see is the 15 minutes off camera. and the conversation that we had at his premiere that later that night for War Heroes, and the guy's just great. I mean, he really is. He's a very humble person. What's up, Pink? Pink's throwing out lies out there. That stuff, man, it's just lies. I had your permission, bro. I had your permission. So no. So let's kind of move on. I want to start talking. I want to start with Mike. And now that SHOT Show's over and the excitement and all that, I'm hoping that we as an industry, whether it's the manufacturers, media, two-way organizations and all that, how can we capitalize on the energy moving forward? It seems like maybe SHOT was a great way to start the year out. We've got NRA in a few months, but there's other events going on year round. But as a two-way community, I want to start with you, Mike, again. How can we take that energy from last week and maybe move forward?
I think the only thing we really can do is continue to do what we're doing, far as pushing your message. And at the same time you're pushing your message, just make sure that you learn from your mistakes. But at the same time you're learning from your mistakes, capitalize and utilize your streams of network, because it doesn't make sense for us to all be sitting here doing the same thing and you got animosity towards somebody for whatever reason. It's time to put the egos down. We got a more important fight because it's more at stake than what you think it is. So we all got to get out there and shake each other's hand, be people, be courteous to each other, and let's move forward together. Let's talk. That's what it all comes down to. You got to talk to each other, to bounce off each other, to make each other better.
Yeah, it's a great point. And then you said it was trying to drop the egos, and we've been trying to talk about that for the last month or two leading up, and it's one of those things where I saw a lot of that this week. There weren't very many egos, at least that I came across. Everyone that I talked to was awesome, no matter how big they were, how small they were. It didn't matter. It was, we're here on the same fight. We're here on the same page. And that is really, really awesome to see. So I'm hoping that we can catapult into something bigger and better. Now, Ashley out there says that the excitement isn't over. And to a certain extent, the excitement's just beginning for some of us. And bringing Clover. So taking the energy from last week, what are some of the things that you're looking forward to in the next 3-6 months to a year?
Man, I don't know. It's interesting. It's definitely going to be interesting. As most out there know, I have live stream capability on YouTube back. Sadly, I'm not really excited about having that back. I don't, it's one of the things. I was without it 90 days. I did other things. I worked other avenues that I think are a lot safer as far as my content being out there and everything else. So I'm not real sure how yet I'm going to incorporate that, back into the game plan. There's so much with all of these contacts. I mean, I've got way too many contacts already. And then you got to realize we've got, of course, Tulsa coming up twice potentially, and then NRA. So by the time you stack all those up over the course of a year, the contacts made there as well. I've got a year's worth of Firearm Friday probably sitting here easily.
Oh yeah,
if not more. Making the contacts I made not only through USA Shooting but also through the SASP program. I'm pretty sure I've got Next Gen coming back in full force, potentially an entire year of that slated. Both of those, though, most likely will remain, for the most part, in true podcast form. Right. I think my plan is to utilize YouTube and maybe split it up to where there is a Firearm Friday live and maybe a Next Gen live every other week, just alternate them. That way you get there'll be 2 lives a month. And what that'll be is basically those that I record podcast segments with, if they're willing to do an additional live, then I'll bring them into the fold for that as well.
Awesome.
So that's sort of part of my plan with that. And then I spoke with a lot of, this, and of course I spoke with a lot of, yes, I talked to some tactical people and some AR people and stuff like that, but I also talked with a lot of bolt action, a lot of lever gun, a lot of wheel gun, Korth, for example, and stuff like that. So really want to take it, especially after conversation, and we'll probably get into this a little later on, I guess, but the conversation we had with Tim Knight,
Yep.
and talking about that. And I really want to work on the whole FUD Life, #FUD Life movement, because I think that's something that I'm definitely passionate about. It really gets my goat when there's a lot of demonizations of FUDs. And I think that for the most part, the ones that are out there, they just need motivation, and they're not going to be motivated by somebody outside the fray. Maj is not going to be able to motivate a FUD. Right. So it's going to take somebody that understands, and I think I understand. I love to hunt. I love the wheel guns. I love the lever actions. I love all that. I think, and semi-automatic shotguns. I think that it's going to take somebody like that. So that's something else I want to try to focus on, and hopefully the companies that I've networked with that have products, services, what have you, that kind of align with that sector of the industry and the community. Hopefully we can partner to reach them and maybe motivate them to become a little more active in not only when it comes to voting in the NRA or speaking up or writing their congressmen or senators or whatever, but also when it comes to voting in general.
Yeah, we're going to talk. We're going to touch on that here in a bit. Mike, you said you disagree on something.
Yeah, the whole motivating. I think as long as you're telling the truth and your political stance is telling the truth, as everybody's trying to get to the same goal, I think motivation is going to come from that positive content.
Yeah, and motivation is going to come from, I think, from different places for different people. So, yeah, I mean, I agree with both what you're saying. There's, like I said, we have to figure out different ways to motivate people. I don't think there's one set template and all of that. Unknown User sends a $2 super chat. Best product of this year, Baby Blue Ear Pro for men. We'll get into that probably a little bit later, anyways. Yeah, it's officially called Powder Blue.
It's Infantry Blue.
No, they would like for us to call it Powder Blue. So no,
it's also Ford Blue.
It's also Tiffany Blue, if you want to be real.
Hold on now. Hey, y'all doing name calling right now, and I'm not going to tolerate this.
Well, you can call it what you want, but we know the truth.
Hey, Mike, there's a little red telephone at the top of your screen. It's on the far right.
Yeah, so Mike, I want you to send your complaints to shootingleft@gmail.com.
Here we go. Armentia, where you at? I need some backup right now.
Right. All right. G, let's bring you in real quick. And like you said, taking the energy from the SHOT Show. And I know you had a lot of time with Alan Gottlieb, and you had some time with some different 2A organizations. What were your thoughts and what are your plans to help maybe get the Second Amendment train there faster now that we've left SHOT Show?
Get it there faster. I don't know if I can get it any faster. So just trying to figure out what everybody's goals were. So some of the meetings were to figure out what people's ambition is, right? And then now I'm still trying to come up with the numbers on all that. So I don't know. That was knocked back by a couple of them. Not everything is super optimistic. So yeah, and then to be realistic, and then to know about so many more events, like you kind of mentioned earlier, events going on throughout the year. Kevin's got an event. Cheryl talked about an event.
Yeah, she's got a new one like in Virginia that she's going to be speaking at. Do you know anything about that one?
No, she just mentioned the one about Pennsylvania. I think maybe we're talking about the same one, but yes, so there's a lot of new stuff on the horizon, and trying to now, I guess, just put my head around it all, and then come up with what's realistic or what's potential for what we can do this year. So I don't know. To tell you, it didn't all fall into place like a giant jigsaw puzzle, and I can just describe the picture now. All the pieces got into better shape. Now I'm trying to figure out if there's a way to put everything together. Is that a way to describe it?
Yeah. Did you get any feedback from Cheryl and the people that are running AMCON for the Gun Rights Policy Conference? Are they listening to some of the people's comments from last year and maybe hoping making changes for this year? Have you heard anything about that?
I think I'm the only one that commented from last year.
Oh, are you? Okay. Well, we know they heard yours.
They sat down with me, but now I know they're, like I say, they're ambition. Like they don't have the same ambition that I would have liked them to have, but now I know their ambition, so now we can work with what they want to do and what they're able to do and what they're, you know, working to do, and then do something else where they leave off, basically.
Yeah. Some of my experiences were pretty phenomenal. Like I said, I got to spend some quality time with Brandon with Firearms Policy Coalition, and you know, obviously at the very forefront, and they're making a really big splash out there with a very, very small number of people. And so if you haven't checked out fpc.org, please, and it's unbelievable what they're doing over there. What that makes it great about it is if you're everyone talks about sending letters to your congressmen and senators. If you go to their website, you can literally, they have a template. They'll say, you know, what state are you in and who's your congressman or your senator, and they have a template that will literally allow you to copy and paste a letter to email to your congressman or senators. So they're making it as easy as possible for you. We know that Thursday night, early Friday morning, Illinois dropped some stuff that they're trying to basically kind of backwards go after semi-automatic weapons of all kind. WP out there mentioned that there's red flags popping up all the time as well. So the fight is real, the struggle is real, and let's just hope that we can kind of move forward as a group and a culture and a community to do that. Now we're going to transition into something that was kind of enlightening to me. I got to spend some time with Cheryl Todd, who is an amazing woman, talking about someone who is completely enthralled into the Second Amendment and the lifestyle. They own a gun shop and AZ Firearms, and it's obviously Gun Freedom Road. She and her husband Dan are just amazing people. I got to hang out with a lot of people this week that I never thought that I would be in the same room with, much less having really, really strong two-way conversations with. So I was really pleased about that. But the biggest one for me was Timothy Knight. And if you guys don't know Timothy, he reached out to me. He's an NRA board member. He reached out to me a few weeks ago and had been watching some of the shows and kind of was interested in what I was saying, knows that I'm not an NRA member right now, but wanted to have a discussion with me. So we talked for like 45 minutes. That turned into a really cool friendship, and then got a chance to talk with him for at least half an hour, Clover, or something like that, Thursday night outside the media room. And the cool thing about this is, I'm going to say this: we became privy to some not necessarily secretive stuff. It was just information that the general public may not know about the NRA. And I'm not going to go out there and say that I'm going to be an NRA member, because that's not me, and I would be lying if I said that. But I told Timothy that, and he respects that, and he honors that. And we had a really good discussion about ways to possibly change the NRA. And it has to do with voting for people, for board members that may not be involved in it. They don't even show up. They don't vote. And we need to get people on the board that are active, that are younger, that are wanting to be involved. And having a couple friends of mine now that are on the board of the NRA, I'm starting to kind of see maybe there's some shift going on, but I can't make it happen by myself. You can't make it happen by yourself, but as a collective group, especially if you're a member of the NRA and a voting member of the NRA, please, we're going to let Clover jump in here and really talk about maybe possible ways to get the NRA back to a position where people are at least supporting them more, because regardless of what we think and our feelings are towards the NRA, they are still they're the beacon of the Second Amendment as far as the public is concerned. Yes, we have the Second Amendment Foundation. Yes, we have the Gun Owners of America. Yes, we have Firearms Policy Coalition. And there's a lot more that are out there doing really awesome work. But there might be a chance. I'll let Clover come in and kind of just talk about what Tim was talking with you and I about.
Well, it was, without a doubt, it was a very eye-opening conversation. And I've talked about this a few times, since we had that little meeting with him, and I've seen comments pop up and gotten emails or whatever that, all the NRA is going to do is just delete your email. They're just going to, burn your letter, blah, 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 blah. And those people are missing the point of what Tim was trying to say. that was exactly what Tim was trying to say, is that writing, tweeting, commenting, emailing the NRA or the NRA ILA, let's be a little more specific,
Let's exactly
is pointless. And he pretty much said that. He's
Sure.
like, that's absolutely pointless. The method that he threw out there was to know who the board members are, and write the board directly to the attention of specific board members. If you want to write them all, that's fine. And when I mean write, I don't mean email. I mean, type it up like you're going to, do an email, print it out, and then put it in an envelope with a stamp and mail it to them. Actual tangible letters.
If it has their name on it, it will get to them.
Yes. And he said that, what did he say over the last year? With all the disgust and everything with the NRA. Now let's just
said
everybody listen. I thought he said 35.
It was maybe it was. It was an
astonishing low number. It was ridiculous. It was less than one a week for sure. Letters that the board received in total last year. Now, for all the disgust and all the hate and all the people who want to gripe and moan and bellyache about the NRA, that is freaking ridiculous, guys. Now that we know that's an issue and that's something that needs to be done, we need to step up. We need to start campaigns, and we need to make that 35 number or 25 number, whatever it is in a year, go up and be 1,000 or 2,000 or 5,000 or 10,000 letters. Okay, that's going to get attention. Okay, when the board starts seeing that there's that many people concerned with the direction of the NRA ILA, then are they going to have the power to do anything? Who knows? But that's one thing that we need to push too, is transparency. One of the statements he was making, and that's something that you can put into your letter, is that, hey, we want more transparency on this board and what's going on, because at this point there's no way to even tell. He said that the majority of the board members don't even show up for the meetings.
Right.
Well, if the board members aren't showing up for meetings, that's a problem.
Why are they board members?
That's a problem. Why are they a board member? And that's something that we need to let them know that we're not happy about that. And then we need to let them know that we want some kind of tracking and some kind of accountability, not only for the voting, the vote count and all of that, but for, we need a roll call, and that roll call needs to be published, that these, here are the people that showed up. And why? That way, when we go to vote, for, NRA or whatever, we vote for the board of directors, we can, vote out, or rather not vote for, those that don't show up. And we can put, this is another issue that he, Artisan Tony out there makes a good point. He said, technology makes it easy to send emails, but also easy to filter out emails. That is absolutely right. So go old school, do the work, and it may make some difference. Now,
well, you're also talking about, hold on real quick. You're also talking about if you send letters, if you send emails, it's easy to look at an inbox for someone in reception to forward them or not forward them or get thrown as spam or whatever. If you send a letter and you're having someone, an intern or whatever, literally got a stack of envelopes that they have to literally walk over to a box or send out to the respective board members, they're going to start realizing, wow, there's a lot of people writing letters. What's going on?
Yep, exactly.
And that's huge.
Yeah, and that's one of the statements he made, is like, with the just very few letters they're getting a year or whatever, that most of these board members have no clue that there's people out there that are, or at least to the level that it is, people that are disgusted with the NRA ILA. I'm one of them. The other point that he was making, as well, is how we need, it's kind of like I think I was talking about it in the chat just a minute ago with the whole flood life thing, but we need people to step up and be leaders, and those people can run for the board, of course, if they want to try to mobilize the membership. And he was talking about that. And we got to be careful about who we put in those positions. There is just me going through the list, and there's a ton of board members, and I did put a link in the chat there for that AmmoLand article, and it lists all the board members. But you've got celebrities on there, and odds are they probably don't show up, figureheads, and that looks good, of course, when they put it out there. But outside of that, doesn't really help. But there are several, industry-related people on there that are probably good board members. So if we can focus on getting rid of the dead weight there, and then maybe getting in some people that speak to certain demographics that need to be motivated and need to be spoken to, then I think that we can make I don't know, Mike can make some positive strides. Now,
I think so.
It's going to require, I've said this all along, that it's going to require more. It's going to require more than just one tactic. If we're going to fix, reboot, whatever you want to call it, the NRA ILA, it's going to take more than one tactic. I believe that this is one well worth pursuing, but realize that this is not the only thing you're going to be asked to do. There's going to be more work that's going to be done, I'm sure.
Yep. All right. So Mad Sexy sent a text to me, says, is it true that ashtrays at SHOT Show caught on fire constantly? Constantly the ashtrays were on fire. Yes. I want to bring Mike in real quick. And I know, Mike, I think that you might have had a discussion with Tim recently as well. Did you get anything from him that kind of opened your eyes at all?
It was just a conversation that you and I had, and then somebody else at SHOT Show, and we had a similar conversation, which it wasn't Tim. And
Tim. Okay, my bad.
Yeah,
I it one with Tim.
But it pretty much aligned with what me and you talked about offline.
Yeah.
Whereas, the whole information portion, if it was more transparent, I don't think the NRA would be receiving as much negativity as they are right now. And I actually contacted Tim and I asked him, because I was doing a payment option for the lifetime member. And I let it lapse when all the controversy started and everything. So I contacted him and said, who do I talk to about reigniting my membership payment? And he pointed me in the right direction, and we had a conversation, and he sent me the article that Clover was talking about.
Yeah, go check that article. That's pretty awesome.
Very, very awesome article. And in the same breath, when you sit there and you look at it, just like Clover stated, what it takes is people to get active. You just can't sit there and say why. You have to physically get active, pick up the phone, write a letter, show up at the annual meetings or whatever show, and corner these people and put them to work. Make them work. You're paying them the money, so make them work.
I'm putting out in the chat right now a link to that Ammo Land letter, and please go check it out. It's a great open letter from Tim Knight. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. I was finished anyway.
Okay. I do want to send a shout out to a buddy of mine, a brother from Claves out there. He's a brother from Jaeger's train. We met there and been talking a lot ever since. So what's up, brother?
Now, I think Mike made a good point there when he was talking about reigniting his membership. Under any normal situation up until our conversation with Tim, I would not, advise anybody to get an NRA membership. Of course, we all know there's free memberships everywhere, right?
That's
free
right.
Yearly memberships. I think it would be advantageous if you're going to write them. I think it would be advantageous to have a membership. I really do. I think it would be. I don't know if we're able to flood them with hundreds or thousands of letters. I don't know that they would devote the time to going through and making sure every one of those was sent by a member, but it would be really nice if they were, and we didn't have to worry about that potentially being a downfall of this campaign.
All right. I got a couple questions I need to get in, and then I got when G has a question also. But Mad Sexy says, do I prefer a 1-point sling or 2-point? I prefer 2-point sling. 1 point for me is a little awkward, but I understand where they come from. There is a great sling out there that Mike and I met with a guy, Neil McLean. It's from McLean Slings, MCLEAN. Go check him out. It's a great sling that goes from a 2-point to a 1-point, 1-point to a 2-point very, very quickly, very, very easily. So you have the best of all worlds, but personally, I prefer a 2-point sling. G, you said you had a question. Go for it.
Not about the NRA though, really. So are we done with that?
That's okay. No, yeah, you can go wherever you want to with it. Yeah.
Something you had mentioned before made me think that I was going to ask you guys that have been to SHOT, and I know Aranthea's out there, I think. So anybody else who's been to SHOT, or specifically this year, who was walking around? Did you check out, maybe when you were looking for people or looking for a booth or something, kind of an idea of the people that were there? Because those human beings, those 60,000 or so human beings, are a pretty decent representation of their stores and their customers, maybe. And I don't know, did you guys take a look around, or do you think that our messages, and I guess the second question that to follow up to that is, are our messages reaching the people that were there?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't sit there and smell the roses and take it all in, but I did notice that for me it was a much more diverse crowd than last year. Maybe as I enjoyed and looked around more, I kind of kept my head down last year. But I mean, there were, there was a lot of women. There was, there was everyone there, and of all ages, of all colors, of all creeds, and all that. And I really think that it does. I kind of think it does show a representation of our community. And I think it's nice to know that there are companies out there that are focusing on a different section of our community, the women, or you have, what Maj and Katie are doing to try to bring in the light from the urban gun community. But there's all sorts of stuff that was out there. And there were people that I noticed, like I said, I heard a lot more 2A talk. And that wasn't necessarily the conversations that I was in. Just walking and listening to conversations, there was a lot more 2A talk than there was last year. Mike, I'm going to bring both you and Clover, but Mike, did you kind of take a look at who all was there or anything any of that?
You mean as far as celebrities or
just the crowd?
Just the makeup of the crowd, yeah.
Yeah, I did notice there was a large abundance of women there, and at the same time, it was like there was no real division. Like you didn't see, like when people was at range day or at the booth, you didn't see anything like a certain group of people was over here and a certain group of people was over there. It was literally people were intermingling, talking, exchanging information, taking pictures together. It was a beautiful sight because there was, in my personal opinion, there was no negativity that I seen in the presence of SHOT Show.
Yeah, that kind of brings up a quick fun story. We were at range day, Mike and I were. We ran into Hank and Lola. He's like, "Hey, let's go eat." So we were getting street tacos, and they were saying, "Hey, we'll save you a couple seats." Cool. So we're sitting there waiting for it, and there's this guy that kind of starts eyeballing me and Mike, and he's literally like 2 feet from us, looking us up and down and punching into his phone, probably Googling us and all that. And my initial reaction when people start doing that is I start getting a little antsy. And Mike was like, "Calm down, yo, calm down. It's all good." But I was like, this guy's eyeballing and all that. And so it was kind of bothering me, but it is what it is. So then we get our street tacos. We walk down to the tent. We sit down. And all of a sudden, this guy sits down at the table with us. Now it's starting like, he sits down like between me and Hank. And I was like, what in the world? And Mike starts kind of like mouthing to Hank, "Who is this guy? Or do you know this guy?" And so I said, "How you doing? I'm Trey." And he goes, "I'm Pete." It was Pete Brownell. So the interesting thing is he had his name tag in so no one could see what it was. But it was just one of those things where you never know who you're going to run into. You never know when the opportunity comes. And honest to God, I got to give all the credit to Hank. But all of us were involved. But Hank really, just took the conversation towards GunStreamer. And we were all helping him out, trying to convince, Pete Brownell, this, that, and the other. But Pete Brownell had never really heard of GunStreamer. Next thing you know, he's like, "I got to talk to him." And I believe that they actually had a meeting with Pete Brownell and talk about GunStreamer. So you never know when opportunities are going to pop up. You never know when you're getting ready to knock someone's teeth out because they're eyeballing you. Might turn into someone that you really don't want to do that to. So I want to say, first of all, thank you for Mike for not letting me hit that guy. And second of all, the whole point is you never know who's going to be around. You never know who's going to be listening. You never know who's going to be watching. And especially at an industry show like this, you might just happen to have lunch with Pete Brownell unexpectedly, and that could turn into a relationship for friends of yours at GunStreamer or friends of yours somewhere else, and might change the whole dynamic of the Second Amendment community. So that was kind of cool as well.
Yeah, but you also got to remember this. You got to remember what we do and what we do on the regular for our social media. So when people actually see us, they look at you in a different light. You know what I'm saying? So you can't be so quick to get defensive until that moment happens. So you
Well, I
gotta
wasn't defensive. I just don't like people eyeballing me. That's just a natural reaction.
yeah. But at the same time, I'm like, hey man, just calm down, just enjoy it.
I wasn't not gonna. I mean, it was just one of those things where and people don't realize, like, he was literally like a foot from me, and I was like, "What is this Joker doing?" And he's like looking up at us, and he's looking at our badges, like right here, and typing in Google. I was like, "What in the world is this guy doing?"
Yeah, so that's pretty much what he was doing. He was actually like on Facebook, wherever he was at, but he was looking at us.
I was talking with Hank, and then realized, well, I'm getting ready to have lunch with these guys. Who are they?
Yeah, it was a fun encounter. It was very fun.
It was. Clover, let's I think I kind of cut you off earlier, but I want to bring you back into the mix, and let's talk maybe.
I think you did.
But I didn't. Okay. All right.
But anyway.
Well, I was going to see if you wanted to answer G's question about, did you kind of recollect the people that were walking to see a demographic difference from last year,
There was a few things, yeah. And I think user out there alluded to this. He was talking about the female demographic.
Yeah, it's big.
That's a very fast growing demographic. I would say that if you asked me, I've seen more females at SHOT Show this year than in past years. The racial makeup, I don't know that it was any more necessarily, but there was definitely diversity there, without a doubt. I know that there were people there that weren't necessarily firearm people, and I talked to at least 2, maybe 3 of those people that were brought in by companies or whatever, right? And they were tasked with just feeling out the show and stuff. And so I got to talk with them, and they were very impressed with the people there. I mean, everything reflected well on the community and the culture in the industry. So yeah, the vibe as it may be for, race, color, creed, sex, whatever.
Easy. We're a family. We can't talk sex. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
That good stuff.
That.
Well, I'm talking about the binary sex. But with all of that, I mean, it was a great vibe. I mean, I don't think anybody paid any attention or cared, and everybody was talking to each other and having a good time and making deals. And it was about what it should be, which was, at the end of the day, about the industry.
Yeah. There is a question out there. I want to run through the panel real quick. It's from Bikes and Bullets. And he says, knowing full well that the second has been converted into a commerce privilege, how does their rhetoric comply with shall not be infringed, promoting licensing certificates and the like? G, you want to tackle that one first?
I mean, there's a question mark at the end, so it's supposed to be a question, but I'm trying to figure out what the question is.
Yeah, let's kind of maybe go after the fact that he's saying that the Second Amendment has been converted to commerce. That's free market. I mean, money is what it is, and there wouldn't be a Second Amendment if there were no guns. If there were no guns, we wouldn't have it. So they're got to have guns to sell, have to have parts for selling. So if there were no guns to sell or to own, then there would be no reason for the Second Amendment anymore. So it has to be a commercial thing. But what are your thoughts on maybe the commercialization of the Second Amendment? Let's go with that one. I know. I don't know. I'm just reading the question.
Well, it says, how does all the rhetoric comply with the shall not be infringed? So I guess he's saying, or they're saying, how does a license deal with or live with shall not be infringed?
Maybe he's saying it's taxation, and taxation shouldn't go along with shall not be infringed. I don't know. Bullets, if you're out there, maybe clarify the question.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's sort of out of context. We were talking about SHOT Show or whatever. I mean, now if we're going to talk about how do we live with CCW permits, I guess is what he's saying.
We're talking about what's next for the community. So this kind of goes along with it. Sure.
Oh, okay. So
I don't know. Okay, yeah. He says commerce brings regulations. Regulations are dictated by government. Anybody want to jump in on that one?
All right, so I'll go ahead and take it. So you got to understand also something, that the federal government give the states the right to dictate how they handle firearms in a manner within those borders.
Mhm.
So a lot of people are actually profiting off of, you know, your rights right now, which we already know. But in order for that profit to be in place, it actually, you know, regulates us in a sense, whereas it's driving the universal of keeping the process going, you know. So either way you look at it, is it right, is it wrong? But at the same time, if we don't have something in place right now to ensure the wheel is continually going, where would it be without? You know, so that's one way you can look at it. Another way you can look at it is, if you have a bunch of people out there who thinks they know what right is, what would it really be like, and what would it come down to? You know, so you know,
I want to play a devil's advocate a little bit here, and G can go ahead if he wants to.
Go for it. Go for it.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Clover.
You know, we're talking about licensing. I'm assuming we're talking about license to carry, right?
I would imagine that's kind of what I'm thinking. Yeah.
And we're talking about it being commerce and people making money. There's no way that's true. There's no way that's true. There's no way that are they making money in the sense of they're taking money? Yes. Are they making money in the sense that they're profiting at all? There's no way. Even in states that have high fees for that, there's no way, with the bureaucracy and everything involved with securing that year after year, day after day, year after year, there's no way they're making money. And especially in states like Texas, where they've already dropped this $40 for whatever 4 or 5 years or something. And like Ghost was talking about, I think in pre-chat with Arkansas fixing to do that.
Yeah.
No way. Yeah. No, there's no way they can keep the lights on with those government buildings and the employees and the paperwork they got to do. And there's no way they're making money on it. And I think that's why you see a lot of your more pro-firearm states that start to pull back on those fees and stuff, because I think it's going to create a hardship eventually to where they say, you know what, we're just not going to do this no more. If you want, you know, we're going to scale it back to a point that, you know, if you want to do this, maybe to just so that it's kind of grandfathered in, right? Then that's fine. If you want to keep it to bypass the 4473 or for, you know, whatever reasoning you want, that's fine. But, you know, we're going to pass constitutional carry because there's no sense in us even messing with it anymore.
Yeah. And speaking of what you're talking with Arkansas, I just got a message from a buddy of mine who is a state senator. And we're talking state level now, but the House chamber here in the state level, the representatives passed a bill that will lower the fees from $100 for new licensees for concealed carry to $50. And for people that are renewing it, it goes to $25. Now that renewal is for 5 years. So they're basically dropping it to $5 a year for your concealed carry. So kudos to the Arkansas legislator. The Senate will vote on it either end of this week or early next week, and it's probably going to be a done deal. So congratulations to my home state of Arkansas. So I appreciate you guys very much. It's just kind of that path, you know. So now I don't know, G or someone was getting ready to talk earlier, so I go ahead and finish up, or whoever was going to speak.
Yeah, I think I cut G off.
Oh, G, what you got, buddy?
Well, I went over and got some hummus, and now I totally forgot what the topic was.
We were talking about the licensing and the commercialization of regulating by the government because of the commercial side of making money on the Second Amendment.
I'm still trying to figure out what that question means, but if the real question is, how do you deal with shall not be infringed and CCW permits, or some even more infringing permit? Then yeah, they're oil and water. They don't exist. But I don't know what you want us to do. We're not genie, so we can't just blink our eyes and they're gone. We have to start with what we got right now, what was given to us, and change it, right? So yeah, we want no NFA and we want constitutional carry everywhere. So start working towards it. So I don't know, I'm throwing that question out when we're talking about shot.
Yeah.
It's off topic or whatever, but if that's the answer you want, yeah, no NFA, no firearms laws, period. The Second Amendment. What that means is everybody has complete trust and lack of fear in their neighbors. and whatever they own is of their business. And as long as they're not hurting you, then who cares what they have? And that's basically what we have today. We don't know what our neighbors are doing or how much gasoline they have in their garage or how many oily rags they have around until there's a fire. And when there's a fire, we have a fire department, and every once in a while there's a horrible fire, but we don't assume everyone's out to be an arsonist because every once in a while there's a fire, right? So firearms are just being persecuted because people want us to be afraid of our neighbors. They want us to be afraid of our neighborhoods. They want us to be afraid of other people. So when you get rid of gun laws, you get a lack of fear of your neighbors, and that's what we all want. So if that's the answer you want, that's the end. That's what we're all looking for, I think. And you have to work towards it in incremental steps. So that's what we achieve audiences for, so that we can motivate people to do stuff to work towards that end.
Yeah.
That's the answer.
Yeah, and it's a weird question. So, I mean, maybe it's a different question for a different time. Maybe, our minds are still working a little slowly because of the SHOT Show plague that we might be getting. I don't know. But I'll tell you something I want to bring up as a point. Me and Mike and Fully Loaded Clip and Carrie and Zeke, we were all sitting there Wednesday watching Maj own a room. When I say he owned a room, he owned the room. But at the end, he was kind of asking for Q&As, and there's someone asked him about why do we always seem to be blamed for the bad, evil people in our community. And there was something that Zeke stood up and said that stuck with me, and I think Mike probably will remember this, but it's something that I'm going to start using. He said the best way that we can fight that is say, you're talking to someone who's anti-gun or whatever, and they said, do you have kids? And if they say yes, you say, do you have 2 kids or multiple kids? And if they say yes, you sit there and say, well, if little Susie gets caught sneaking out of the house, are you going to punish the other 2 kids because of her making a mistake? They'll say, well, no. And I said, so why are you punishing all of the other gun owners because this guy or this girl made a mistake and did something evil? And I thought in a way to kind of bring it to reality of someone you're having a conversation with, I thought that was amazing. And it hit right home because who's going to argue about punishing 3 kids for 1 kid's mistake? And I thought that was really, really cool. The second thing that I saw was that there was a couple hundred people in this room, and the vast majority of them were old white guys. Let's just be real. Okay. That's the vast majority of the community. And we had one guy stand up, Mike, and I don't remember where he was from, but he literally had the NRA vest on. And he was like, I thought this speech was about something else. I had no idea you were black.
Yeah,
and
he was
goes,
from,
really? You know,
yeah.
and
he was from New Jersey. He was from
New Jersey. He said, I had no idea you were black. And I was like, seriously? And he said, but he stood up and was like, I want to applaud you for what you're doing. And, seeing someone that was a complete different background and a complete different demographic than every single person in that room that was listening to him, and he owned them. He literally had them in the palm of his hand. That's when there's still a hope. There's still chance for our community to really grow, come together, and understand. And like Clover said, we need someone who can relate with the hunters. We need someone to relate with the competitive shooters. We need someone to relate to the urban city. We need someone to relate to the trainers and the tactical guys. And if we can find someone that relates to all those, and then they can get in a room and relate to each other, that's when we know we've got something special. So I think there is a lot of hope out there. I think that there was a lot of energy and a lot of enthusiasm from SHOT Show last week. And so I personally can't wait to see what's going to happen this year. You guys have any comments on any of that?
Well, when you're talking about reaching out to these different demographics and groups, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whenever it comes time to reach out to the Swedish bikini models,
you're in? You're down? Okay. We have our representative to the Swedish bikini team. I'll remember that. It was really cool. And I think Clover or Mike, or maybe both of them, were talking about the numbers of women that were there. And I'm not saying they weren't there last year. I'm saying I noticed a huge difference in women this year. And you had Cheryl Todd, you had Kelly Ann from Armed and Feniment, you have Armenti was out there rocking it. You had a lot of people out there that were making a push, and they were Jules McQueen was there from Carbon TV. You have a lot of women, and Carrie from We the Female. You have a lot of these people that are out there trying to do some good and say, hey, we're part of this culture too. And so, like I said, it was really positive for me.
I'd like to congratulate the man that authorized it for the women to be able to show up at SHOT Show.
Yeah, and they were supposed to only be there. I think Clover said that they were only supposed to be there from Wednesday from 12 to 1. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yeah, and someone dropped the ball there, but
we had some security. I mean, I don't know. They scrimped on security this year for some reason, and some women got in early, and then the ones that come in from noon to 1, they didn't leave, and security really they dropped the ball. They didn't do their job.
Only, I think.
And at some point, I mean, I agree with G. Kudos to the guy that made that decision, but I think they forced his hand because by that time there was so many that had infiltrated SHOT Show that he really had no choice. He had to just sign off on it. There was already too many there, so it was an amnesty type deal.
Yeah, it was wonderful. Like I said, it was wonderful to see the diversity, the age difference also, just everyone. And like I said, for me, the energy was just so positive. Like last year, the energy in the dungeon was cool. This year, it was everywhere. The energy was great. Up there on the 5th floor on Wednesday for the pop-up review, you got some people that literally have everything on the line. A buddy of mine from Arkansas, who I want to plug real quick, it's these dispensable magazine loaders for 9mm right now, but it's called Cheaters, CheeterZ.com. Go check out Cheaters. But he was up there. They drove from Arkansas with their product for one day, the pop-up review. So you're talking about someone that is literally putting everything on the line to hopefully innovate and find someone that will get their product. So the energy was amazing. The discussions were incredible. I had chances to talk with different interviews with Nate. Mike and I were with Nate with Alien Gear on their live show. I got a chance to do an interview with Cheryl and did a chance to do some stuff with different people, and everyone, it wasn't just one person, it was everyone was like, man, this has been a great SHOT Show. Everyone was talking about the energy and how excited they were to kind of get home and get the ball rolling. So what I want to do is I want to start running it through the room, and I'll start with Mike and say, Mike, what are some of the projects that you're going to be working on, and what are you excited about for 2019?
2019, I'm pretty excited about Operation Training Day, for one. My other big venture is my journey through competition shooting with USPSA, and just following up with the contacts we made at SHOT Show that's going to lead into Operation Training Day. But at the same time, that kind of branches off into other content that I can use for the Black Men with the Gun podcast as well.
That's right. Where can people find you in case they're living on the moon and have never heard of you before? I'm going to give you 17 seconds.
Yeah. Here we go. You got it ready?
Go.
All right. Please go to www.m-wtactical.com, the one-stop shop where you can check out everything I'm a part of from the Facebook and Instagram pages, which you can find by searching for M-W Tactical. Even a link where you can catch up on the Black Men with the Gun podcast with Ken Blanchard and myself, where you can get your M-W Tactical and Black Men with the Gun swag as well. We also bring in the LEO training campaign at gofundme.com/LEO training to put some officers in training for a year at no cost to them or the department. And the M-W Tactical channel, where we do various reviews or conversations that we put out every Tuesday on GunStreamer, and YouTube. But click on the link to become a Patreon.
That was like 79 seconds, but no.
I don't care. I'm shouting out GunStreamer.
Right on. I hear. I love you for it. I love you for it.
GunStreamer.
Right. G, what are some of the immediate plans that you've got going on? Some projects you're working on, and something that we can look forward to?
Don't look forward to nothing. That way nobody gets their hopes up.
I love your enthusiasm.
I like that GunStreamer. That's effective. I like that.
I'm getting a text from Mad Sexy. Says, "Hey, for all that have served, what is okay?" We can go through this real quick. Mad Sexy says, "Hey, for all that have served, what is one thing or more that you brought home from the military that you use today?" I can honestly sit there and say that my punctuation and attention to detail, I would say my respect of time and my work ethic came from, I think I worked hard as a kid, but I really truly appreciated what working hard in the Marine Corps did. So I would say those three things. Mike, what about you?
What's the question?
What are some one or two or three things that you learned in the military that you now use in your everyday life?
Yeah, I would honestly say mindset and the ability to be patient.
You are patient. I'll give you that. G, what about you?
Man, Mike hit it right there. Like, you learn patience. You don't got a choice in real
Hurry
life.
up and wait. Hurry up and wait. Yep.
In real life, people will not wait for some things. Like, you're out of your mind to wait that long, and you don't get that choice. So, understanding the consequences or whatever of waiting is definitely a big one. And then, yeah, time management and personal responsibility.
Awesome.
Oh no, their teamwork. Seeing what true teamwork can do, experiencing it is different than theoretical, right? Like, knowing what a group of regular human beings can do is amazing.
Yeah, and that brings up another one. I would say trust. And if those that know me, the three people in this room are family to me, and there are others out there, but I keep my inner circle very, very tight and close inside, and I don't let very many people in. But what I will say is, once you're in, I learned to trust people that may look different, may sound different, may come from different parts from where I am. But if you all have an equal goal, an equal mission, and you all are doing it for the right reasons, you can learn to trust new people and let them into your lives, and they can make you do and push you to do extraordinary things. And that was a big one. So yeah, absolutely. All of those things are wonderful. I'm not saying make a commercial to say, hey, go join the military. I would say that if you're 18 years old and you have even the least bit thought of whether you want to go to college or not, go get some life experience and grow up a little bit and see what the real world is. Go spend 4 or 5 years serving your country, and you'll get a deeper appreciation of the life that you have, the country that you live in, the freedoms that we have, even though some may sound like they're being infringed upon, but the freedoms that we have as Americans, you appreciate the flag a lot more, and you'll just be happier. So I would say that, don't be afraid to go serve your country, because it's probably the most rewarding thing you can do. So it's the most honorable thing you can do for sure. Clover, I want to bring you up.
Oh, can I just throw this out there?
Yeah. Go for it, G. Go for it.
It's not all freaking flag waving and sharp uniforms. It's a lot of standing in line and picking up cigarette butts and getting kicked in the nuts over and over and over. Nobody says thanks. And there's lots of ways to serve. So pick a way that you enjoy, because there's so many bad stories of military stuff and people that just don't mesh with it. It isn't perfect for everybody. But I agree with you 100%.
All right. Now, Clover, what can we expect from you? And what is one of the things that you're really looking forward to in 2019 that maybe happened because of last week?
I think the reemergence of Next Generation in a little bit different format and a little different flavor. That's probably going to be the one thing that's going to be fairly overwhelming. Seriously, I mean, you're looking at, if we do a weekly show, your weekly podcast, we're looking at a year, probably just off of context I have now. And that's not, as that perpetuates out when you're talking about big organizations like SASP, for example. I've got potentially access at this point. I've got the national director's ear and all of that. And so I've got potential for hundreds, of guests on that front. And then also with, so the same goes with the USA shooting as well. Made 4, 5, 6 contacts. I don't remember it shot, but then those could perpetuate out, and I could end up having 20 or 30, because we're going to open it up not just to current youth competitive shooters. I want to open it up to those that are still competitive shooters today, adult competitive shooters, but that started when they were a youth. I want to open it up to maybe coaches and or instructors or armorers or people like that were also competitive youth shooters. It's one of the things where I want to go with not only present youth shooters but past youth shooters as well. So should make for an interesting dynamic.
G, you said you had something else?
Yeah, no, you're wrapping it up, but
No, go ahead. I mean, we can go forever. I don't care. I got 8 hours of this thing, you know.
I know that Clover's got his live back, so maybe we can talk him into doing Thursdays again, or maybe if we're just at any different show. But I was just going to say, now that you guys, like you said, I think somebody said that they did more on the first day than you did all last year. So now that you're getting more contacts and you've got more to manage, I think it'd be cool to do a show on managing contacts and managing, what the results of a show, because NRA is going to be coming up and people are going to be experiencing their first and then second and multiple shows. So anyway, it might be more than we want to get into right now, but for a future show, manage and how we deal with multiple contacts and as people move from company to company and those things that we've been talking about and experiencing.
Yeah, because that actually happened to us. We had a contact with a company and got to be really good friends with them last year. And I had sent a text to him a week before. He'd sent another one, said, "Hell yeah, I'll be there. Let's grab a bite or at least go out and smoke a couple times." I go by the booth at least 4 or 5 times, and he's never there. And so this is like Wednesday afternoon. I went outside to smoke, and I hear it's like Ghost. I turn around, and it's him. And I'm not going to use names or companies right now for whatever reason, but it was our buddy. And I was like, well, what the hell? I realized he's wearing another company's logos. He's like, oh, shit, I didn't tell you? Yeah, I've been with them for a few months, blah, blah, blah. So it was one of those things where we've been talking back and forth, but we didn't put 2 and 2 together that he was with a different company at this point. And it's what happens. It does happen. Contacts are going to change. And I think that'll be a great talk, G, about, how the industry evolves and how it's always moving. And you had to stay, you talked about SHOT Show being fluid, but with your contacts within the industry, you must stay fluid as well. So I think that'll be a great one. So maybe we can talk Clover into doing one of those. Anybody else have anything else before we're going to wrap up? If not, we're going to send you guys over to Hit or Miss on YouTube. It's Night Strike 1. Over on GunChannels, it's Hit or Miss. They started about 15 minutes ago, 20 minutes ago. So go catch the rest of them. Guys, you have anything else you want to say before we head out of here?
I want to say I had fun at SHOT Show. If you happen to be in Columbia, South Carolina this weekend, come on by. I'm giving a free basic handgun class this Saturday. If you want more details on that, just email me, info@m-wtactical.com. And it was a pleasure to actually meet everybody face to face, especially you, G.
Yeah, same here. It was a pleasure to meet you and to see everybody efforting to do their thing. And, it's a tremendous effort to get to SHOT. And then you guys share it. So that's even better. So thanks for doing your thing and then being open about it and letting other people walk on your shoulders and do more.
Yeah, I had to walk on his shoulders just to see a lot of times. So it's one of those things, But now I know that some of you guys out there are going to be tired of the SHOT Show thing, but understand that someone says there's a lot of redundancy and all that. There is, but understand that everyone has their own vantage point of a product. So if you're not able to watch it, you never know what you're going to find in some of these videos. So make sure that if you're interested, that you at least go and support everyone that was out there at SHOT Show trying to bust their tail to bring you SHOT Show from their perspective. And if you're out there, go check out the NRA, go check out GOA, SAF, FPC. There's all sorts of people out there that you need to go check out. Walk the Talk America. So please do what you can with those organizations. Help bring the light of our community, and let's really try to start forming a bond to make sure that the other side always knows that we need to be fearful of going after their guns because they're stronger than we think. So let's just get that message out. We will see you next Tuesday on Tactical Tuesday. Semper Fi.